Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we have a new ship for you guys. I don't think I've actually got you guys a video in this yet. It is the Tier 5 French battleship, the Normandie. Now, I'll be honest, I've had a little bit of struggles with this ship. It's not as bad as you'd think. Like, it's just the gun layout is enough to get you to get in trouble. And we'll go over that a little bit. But before we get started, let's go ahead and go over, first of all, the look of the ship. By the way, isn't it really does feel good to be back in the Philippines. I'm pretty sure that's where this is located. I think that's what they said. But yeah, the Halloween port was nice, but just having the beautiful sunshiny, it's good. But the Normandie, guys. Let's go over and look at our commander real quick. Robert Gijard, as usual. His trait, bore, and we have flammable cannoneer, gyrating drill bits, marksmanship, and reaching out XXL. I just got the ability, I believe, to legendary him. In a crate, I ended up getting him. Yep, I do. So let's go ahead and make him legendary. But he wasn't legendary before this video was made, so just something to keep in mind. Yeah, we're gonna go with that. And then, of course, on Andrew Cunningham, Charles Madden. Now, Charles Madden is somebody I might change on my battleship builds, but he's still on this one at the moment. So yeah, that's our commander. Let's jump in. Let's see what we've got. Aiming systems mod 1 and propulsion mod, nothing unusual there, and we are fully upgraded during this battle. And I actually have enough free XP if I wanted to go ahead and finish this, but I'm going to save it. A few more matches, we should have this knocked out. I say a few more, it's going to be like 10, 15 matches, but we'll have it knocked out. The Normandie, let's look at his stats. I've got my alpha tester flag. A lot of people ask me about this flag all the time. It's just an alpha tester flag. I was in the alpha test program, so I get this flag. Stats. Survivability, 48,300 hit points. Seems a little less than most. Now, I say that seems a little less. I should probably look it up instead of just spouting that it seems less than most. Tier 5. Oh, that's a Nuremberg. Of course it would have less. Grasp B also. Hello? Oh yeah, we didn't have the Baron. I forgot about that. Let's go to the Queen Elizabeth then. Queen Elizabeth seemed pretty crunchy for a battleship. Let's look at its stats. 55,000. So I was correct in the assumption that this thing does feel like it has a lot less hit points than other Tier 5 battleships. And you definitely feel that. So, yeah. I say a lot less. You're looking at it, you're like, oh, but Spartan, that's only 7,000 less hit points. 7,000 less hit points is significant. That's like starting off the game after receiving a salvo of armor piercing right off the bat. That was good. Artillery, we have 12 340 millimeter guns. They reach out to 17.7 kilometers with our build. Reload time is 29.7, and the 180 degree turn time is 37 seconds, which seems pretty horrendous, if I'm honest. HE seems okay, but I haven't actually used it too much. I stick to the AP because it's decent. Even when you Citadel people, 10,000 damage is all you're getting, so you feel the smaller caliber, but it does do pretty well. It's got quite a bit of secondaries. It's got 12 90 mils and 18 139 mil guns, both of which shoot nothing but HE, so that's good. AA defense, here you go. We don't need to talk about it because no planes other than spotters, so Maximum speed, 27.4 knots, which for a Tier 5 battleship is blistering. That's pretty quick for a Tier 5 battleship. I mean, well, my Iowa's got some knocks against it, but that's what I get in my my Iowa. So it's pretty significant. Turning radius, not too bad, but we'll talk about that. Rudder shift time, 14.1 seconds, and then concealment's horrendous because battleship. So yeah, you're gonna be seen and you're gonna be shot at. Overview. It's got long reach, so it can reach out and touch people, which, like I said, I like to do. You guys know this. It's fast. which we've already gone over. And it's compromising. Higher caliber AP shells may overpin the armor, but may still arm depending on shell velocity. So, in other words, they can punch straight through you more often, but there's a chance that they're still going to arm and do significant damage. Which, again, like I said, is kind of on par with the way I feel with this thing. And then we've got a nice little thing. The first French battleship design with the main battery guns placed in 3 quadruple gun turrets. The construction of such turrets was driven by the desire to achieve maximum broadside power, given the ship's limited size. And that was the other thing that I was going to mention. And there was 5 built, and it entered service in 1912, which is a nice little tidbit. Thank you, World of Warships, for putting that in there. I do like this screen, even though I'm pretty good at, like, figuring out, hey, this is better, or this is better, because I've played almost all of the battleships at this point. But it's a very tiny battleship. As you can see, those turrets are absolutely massive compared to the rest of the ship. But with that being said, let's get into the battle. Alrighty, so as you can see, we are on fault line, and we are gonna have some interesting times. Now, you guys know I've been trying to be more aggressive in my battleships, and this ship kind of lends itself to that, but it can also be a potential problem, because this ship, as I've mentioned, doesn't have the armor that other battleships has. So that and the weird layout of the guns, and I say weird layout, it's not that weird, having the central turret completely able to turn left and right straight through the front, like the front turret does, is nice, because that allows you to get them onto target quicker, whereas the rear gun has to swing all the way around to get to the same spot. And they're not particularly fast turrets, so you got to keep that in mind. It takes a minute to get them there, so you kind of want to get your guns where you want them early and keep them where you want them. But we're going to push forward. We spawned on Torpedo Alley side, and rather than pushing all the way into Torpedo Alley, you don't need to do that unless there's a cap there. And this isn't a domination. This is a straight up 1 versus 1 cap, or 1 cap each. You know, take it or leave it. Everybody dies one way or the other, hopefully. And we are going to try to push hard. We're going to take it right up the middle, and right off the bat, we have a Normandie straight ahead of us, which is and isn't preferable at the same time. Now, there are 2 destroyers on the enemy team, and luckily, our destroyer spots the Mayhem immediately, and I get ready to fire. And just as we get the rear guns around, I aim ahead of them, put the shot out, and that is an absolute bombshell to drop on a Mayhem. Just lost 2/3 of his health immediately. But our destroyer is right where he can be shot by the enemy team as well, and the Mayhem just craps out a whole bunch of torpedoes and sails right on through, and somehow didn't manage to get killed, even though I took 2/3 of his health right off the bat. The cruiser that was there, unfortunately, was not able to help us. Now, this Nuremberg straight ahead, and I know I'm going to take a torpedo here. There's not a whole lot I can do. I can just try to not take more than one, preferably. So I start to reverse just enough to get out of the way of the one, and we made it just in time, threading the needle between 2 more torpedoes. So we only took 1. That's about as good an ending for that as you could have had. Now, this is about the time where I go, how did the Mayhem not die? Like, come on, guys. You gotta finish her. Finish. It's not that difficult. But I digress. Nuremberg is about to come out, Normandie's about to come out, and I've got to make a choice. Now, my teammate is pushing up on the Normandie and about to launch some torpedoes, so I decide it's time to shoot at the Nuremberg in the back. We've got to try to get him off the board, aiming as best I can, guessing where he's going to be, and that looks very juicy, and down he goes. 2 citadels, 1 kill, devastating strike in the books. Not bad. Not bad at all, taking us up to 28,000 damage. Now, there's another destroyer out to our right, But I'm more concerned about, oh, hey, look, there's the Mayhem. He must have just sailed straight through and tried to flank us because he wasted no time whatsoever. And the first paddling wasn't good enough for him, so he's like, don't worry, I got this. I'm going to just sail right into these Normandies again. Because I have another Normandy right behind me. Now, I'm not proud of this next shot. This is pretty ugly. Partly my fault. This last salvo was definitely my fault. I aimed poorly and completely missed him. The first one I considered like, really, that dispersion was that perfect to go completely around him. And I was like, you know what? That Normandy's on his own. He should be able to take out the Mayhem. He does take out the Mayhem. And now this Gaid over here has been firing at me with high explosive and is just begging for a paddle-in all of his own. Now, I don't know why destroyers think that they can just sail close to you and start spitting off high explosive and get away with it, but you can't do it. Hold these. There goes 2/3 of his health. Completely wiped him out. And people always ask me, well, Spartan, why don't you switch to high explosive versus a destroyer? Because high explosive is too freaking inconsistent. Like, I have hit destroyers for next to nothing with 16-inch high explosive. At least when I overpin them with my main batteries, I am guaranteed to get decent damage. It may not kill them, but in 2 salvos, if I hit them, you're dead. Whereas with high explosive, you just don't get that. So I will always stick with armor piercing in my battleships, with the exception of like the King George and the Vanguard, where your armor piercing's not that great and the high explosive is. Now we've got 1 kill. I leave the Gaid to die to our Nuremberg. Now the Normandy behind me, the Nuremberg that went out after the Gaid, and there's a battleship on the edge of the map with their cruiser, are all in a position to help one another except for the guy that's all out there by himself. Now the Fuso goes down. He died to flooding, which means he got torqued. And we are going to try to do our best to make sure we're swinging the ship around to not take too much. But the Baron is firing nothing but high explosive at me. And that's good. I would rather him fire high explosive at me, except when you're anticipating high explosives, sometimes you get yourself into trouble. And this ship, while it's supposedly not that hard to turn and has a pretty good turning radius and all of that, and, you know, I don't really have any issues with it, it tends to not turn, and then all turn, like everything turns. And we get a absolutely vicious salvo onto the side of the Baron. I don't know what he was thinking, but he was wrong. Giving the broadside of your ship to anything is bad. Giving your broadside to an armor-piercing salvo from a French battleship that has 12 guns aimed at you, probably not the best and wisest choice if you want to keep on living. But yeah, never interrupt an enemy while they're making a mistake. He's going to stay broadside. I'm going to touch him again. And we get another nice salvo. Not quite as good as the first time, but not bad either. And their Normandy is starting to put shots in my general direction. And this is where I start realizing I have screwed up. Okay, we're fine. We're actually fine. We got away with it. We were showing way too much broadside to that Normandy and about ate our own booty, which is not preferable. I'm not going to elaborate on that, but yeah. We get a good salvo off against the Normandy, touching him back for the little bit that he touched us for, and I'm going to have to commit very, very soon, but I want to wait until the Normandy fires at me again so that I don't take too much damage and he citadels me while I'm angled better this time than I was last time. Go figure. Welcome to World of RNG. You gotta love it. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. However, this Baron has just found out the hard way that that's not where you want to be. And I fired the rear guns even though I actually killed him with the front guns, so now I've got to wait for all of them to come back for this Königsberg. And if you're in a Königsberg, and that was a very good salvo of armor piercing from the Königsberg, and he's about to try again with some more. Luckily this time they fall short, because he can actually hurt me with his rate of fire. Luckily for me, he decides to hold off. He's not doing a very good job with his armor-piercing salvos. And wait for it, we put the shot out, and overmatch central, down he goes. Right through the front of his ship. you can't really argue with it. So down he goes, taking us up to 3 kills and 94,000 damage. Now, about this time, I look over and the Nuremberg has no health left. I always try to check what my teammates have, because that helps me decide what I need to do or how aggressive I need to be. Now, the Normandie that's with me has all of its health, and I have, you know, a third of my health. So, we're doing okay health-wise for the battleships. Nuremberg probably not long for this world, and in fact, he has no health left, and I see shots on the way, and wait for it. No, he's still alive. For the moment. But as soon as that Normandy gets reloaded, he's going to finish off our Nuremberg. But doesn't stop the Nuremberg from trying, and he does get a set. He does set the Normandy on fire, and immediately gets killed. But that fire's gonna help. We don't need to necessarily. Oh wait, it looks like he's healing. No, he's still on fire. He's still burning. Maybe he's healing, but he's still burning. Now, the Normandy on my team, I'm not exactly sure what his plan was. We are in position to shoot at the Normandy, but we're not going to get a whole lot of damage this way. He's sailing kind of away from us at an angle, and unless we get plunging fire through the deck, which I am actually getting with one of the rounds there, you're just not going to do much damage to him. So notice that I start sailing kind of with the Normandy at this point. Now he's hitting him, but he's not really getting any damage. You see, the fire's done most of the damage, and that's the Nuremberg doing that. So we're just waiting, because right now I'm waiting for the edge of the map to turn him, and then I realize he's turning before the edge of the map, so I'm going to go ahead, take the shot. It's not the best shot in the world. Didn't quite lead him enough, and it can be difficult at this kind of range and at the direction that the guy is sailing to get a good salvo into him. Now I've got to turn to avoid the island here. I've got my last heal available, so I go ahead and take it, get a little bit more heals back, because you know I need all the health I can get, just in case that the guy on my team gets himself obliterated. Now we've done decent damage to the Normandy up to this point, but he's got about a third of his health left, which means he's in the same boat as us, except, I know, puns, right? 3 ships left, all of them Normandies. This Normandy decides that he no longer needs to exist in the world and decides to bow tank us. And I'm thinking, wait, he thinks that I'm the bigger threat, which is probably correct. And then he's like, no, I'm going to bow tank the other guy. And I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. Wait for it. Shot out. And 3, 2, 1. He's turned towards us a little bit. That may have just saved his life. That little extra, oh my god, I over-angled. And, yeah, he lives for now. Now, the other Normandy got a nice little chunk off of him, too. And just fired his gun. So I know I'm going to get the next shot off prior to him. And so we're aiming the shot. We're getting ready. And I tell him 3 seconds and I will kill the guy. Because at this point, I am 100% confident that this guy is about to die. And that salvo is beautiful. Down he goes. Not bad. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed this first video in the Normandy. It's 116,000 damage, 3 citadels, top leaderboard, 4 kills. Not a bad result. And a ship that's not bad, but you got to be careful with it because it will get citadel pretty easily. So if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.